Astronauts on set. Space station may host wave of TV shows and films. Who wants to be an astronaut? If the answer is you, there's a reality TV show, appropriately titled, Who Wants to Be an Astronaut?, that you ought to apply for. The Discovery Channel is seeking to cast about 10 would-be astronauts to compete during the series' 8-episode run next year for a seat on a real-life trip to the International Space Station, followed by live coverage of the launch of the winner on a SpaceX rocket. We'd like a diverse group of people that each have their own story, why they want to go to space, why they're worthy of going to space, what their backstory is, said Jay Peterson, president of Boat Rocker Studios, Unscripted, one of the companies producing the show for Discovery. That person will not be the only amateur astronaut destined for the space station next year. So many tourism and entertainment efforts are preparing trips there that it could begin to look more like a soundstage for television shows and a hotel for the wealthy than an orbiting research laboratory. Many who work in the business of space believe that is a good thing, even if trips to orbit will remain out of reach of all but the wealthiest passengers in the near term. This is a real inflection point, I think, with human spaceflight. Phil McAllister, NASA's director of commercial spaceflight development, said during a news conference this month announcing that the agency had signed an agreement with Axiom Space, a Houston-based company, to fly the first mission of private astronauts to the space station. I'm very bullish on the tourism market and the tourism activity, Mr. McAllister said. I think more people that are going to fly, they're going to want to do more things in space. Although the International Space Station may stay up in orbit at least until 2028, in the future it will not be the only space station. Russian space authorities last month declared their intention to leave the ISS in the coming years and build a station of their own. A Chinese orbital outpost is expected to come online in the next year or two. Even NASA is looking for what comes next, promising support for commercial alternatives. Axiom, for one, is building a commercial segment, which will first be added to the International Space Station and later serve as a core piece of an Axiom station. Editor's picks. Astronauts on set. Space station may host wave of TV shows and films. The Curious World of NFT Real Estate and Design. John Krasinski and the Tense Wait for, A Quiet Place Part 2. Continue reading the main story. By the end of the decade I believe we will have at least 5, possibly 10 private stations, said Jeffrey Manber, chief executive of NanoRacks, a company that arranges commercial use of ISS and is also planning its own orbital outposts. Some for entertainment, some for research, some for in-space manufacturing, some for preparing the way for our journey to Mars. At long last, our more pragmatic aspirations are becoming reality. TV and film projects in orbit are attracting the greatest attention so far. In the year ahead, the Russian Space Agency, Roscosmos, and a Russian broadcaster, Channel 1, are behind a project in the year ahead to send Yulia Parasold, an actress, and Klim Shipenko, a filmmaker, to the space station to make the movie, Challenge. Ms. Parasold will play a surgeon sent to orbit to save the life of a Russian astronaut. They will be flying on a Russian Soyuz rocket. So will a Japanese fashion entrepreneur, Yasaka Miyazawa, and Yozo Hirano, a production assistant. Their 12-day trip, scheduled to launch in December, is a prelude for a more ambitious around-the-moon trip Mr. Miyazawa hopes to embark on in a few years in the giant SpaceX Starship rocket currently in development. His trip to the space station is being arranged by Space Adventures, a company that arranged 8 similar visits for private citizens between 2001 and 2009. There is still the possibility of Tom Cruise going to space, too. A year ago, Deadline reported that NASA was in discussions with the mega-movie star on shooting an action-adventure film on the station. Since then, nothing more of Mr. Cruise's out-of-this-world movie project has been revealed publicly. There will also be other trips to space-going places other than the space station. Jared Isaacman, a billionaire entrepreneur, has bought an orbital trip from SpaceX, the rocket company started by Elon Musk. A bit closer to Earth, 2 companies, Virgin Galactic, founded by Richard Branson, and Blue Origin, founded by Jeff Bezos, are getting closer to flying tourists on short, suborbital flights that will offer a few minutes of weightlessness.